Right now, there is a good chance your phone is within arm's reach. You did not put it there by accident. You put it there because some part of you needed to know it was close. Your thumb has already unlocked it today more times than you can count. You tell yourself it is just a habit, but the real answer is far stranger. 2 million years ago, your ancestors had a habit too. It looked nothing like scrolling. It looked like walking through tall grass, scanning the horizon, checking under leaves. But underneath, it was the exact same behavior. It was the exact same brain. Here's the strange part. Your brain was never built to seek pleasure. It was built to seek information. And for most of human history, information meant survival. Think about a forager moving through the savannah. She does not know where the next meal is. She does not know if today is the day she finds a fruit tree loaded with figs, or a day she finds nothing at all. That uncertainty is not a flaw in the system. It is the engine of the system. Anthropologists Kristen Hawkes and James O'Connell spent years studying the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, to understand exactly this kind of foraging behavior. What they found was that humans do not forage randomly. They forage the way a gambler plays a slot machine. Check a patch, get nothing. Move to the next patch. Check again, sometimes nothing. Sometimes a payoff so large it changes the whole day. Your brain rewards that pattern, not the payoff itself. The checking. This is where the science gets almost uncomfortable. Neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky at Stanford ran studies on dopamine, the brain chemical people love to call the pleasure chemical. Except that name is wrong. Dopamine does not spike when you get the reward. It spikes when you do not know if you are going to get it. Read that again. Uncertainty is the drug, not the outcome. Sapolsky's research showed that dopamine levels rise fastest not when an animal receives a treat every time it presses a lever, but when the treat only comes some of the time. Random reward. Unpredictable timing. That is when the brain lights up the most. That is when it wants to press the lever again. And again, and again. Does that sound familiar? Every time you pull down on your phone screen to refresh your feed, you are pressing that lever. You do not know what you are going to get. Maybe nothing new. Maybe a message that changes your whole afternoon. Your brain cannot tell the difference between checking a berry bush and checking a notification screen. To your nervous system, they are the same motion. Scan, check, wait, check again. This is not a coincidence. It is not even really a metaphor. It is the same neural circuitry, running on hardware that has not changed in 2 million years, now pointed at a glowing rectangle instead of a grassland. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered something that would end up explaining almost everything about modern technology, decades before technology caught up to it. Skinner built a box. Inside the box was a lever and a pigeon. When the pigeon pressed the lever, sometimes it got food. Not every time. Just sometimes. Skinner called this a variable ratio reinforcement schedule, and it turned out to be the single most addictive reward pattern ever tested. More addictive than a reward every time. Far more addictive than a reward on a fixed schedule. The unpredictability was not incidental to the effect. It was the entire cause of it. Slot machines are built on this principle. So are loot boxes in video games. So is the pull to refresh gesture on nearly every app on your phone. Someone, somewhere, sat down and designed that gesture to feel exactly like pulling a slot machine lever. That was not an accident. That was the point. But here is the twist most people miss. This was never really about technology. Technology just found the oldest button in the human brain and started pressing it on purpose. Your ancestors needed this system to survive. A forager who gave up checking new areas after one bad day would starve. A forager who kept checking, who tolerated the uncertainty, who treated maybe nothing as an acceptable cost for maybe something amazing, was the forager who found the fig tree, who found the honey, who found the herd. The ones who kept checking passed on their genes. The ones who stopped checking did not. You are descended from the checkers. This explains something that feels almost absurd when you say it out loud. Your brain cannot tell the difference between an empty inbox and an empty berry patch. Both feel like a small loss. Both make you want to try one more patch, one more scroll, one more refresh, just in case. And there is a modern mirror here that goes even deeper than checking your phone. Think about the last time you opened an app for just a second and looked up 20 minutes later. That is not weak willpower. That is a 2 million-year-old foraging algorithm doing exactly what it evolved to do, just with a different kind of terrain. The forager on the savannah had built-in limits. Her body got tired. The sun went down. Predators came out at night. The environment itself put a ceiling on how long she could keep checking. Your phone has no ceiling, no sunset, no exhaustion. The terrain never runs out, and neither does the reward schedule. You can forage at 2 a.m. in bed, in the dark, with your thumb doing all the walking your legs used to do. This is why willpower alone rarely works against a phone. You are not fighting a bad habit. You are fighting a survival mechanism, one that was rewarded by evolution for exactly the behavior you are now trying to suppress. Some researchers have started calling this an information foraging model of behavior, applying the same math that predicts when an animal should leave a patch of berries to predict when a person should stop scrolling and put the phone down. And the uncomfortable finding is that mathematically, most apps are engineered to make you leave the patch later than you should, later than the old Savannah math would recommend, later than what is good for you. Here's where it gets almost personal. When you feel that twitch, that pull to check your phone for no clear reason, you are not broken. You are not lacking discipline. You are running the same program that kept your ancestors alive across ice ages, migrations, and famine. The program still works exactly as designed. It just no longer has an off switch because the environment that used to provide one is gone. Knowing this will not make the pull disappear, but it changes what the pull means. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that something very old and very effective is still running underneath everything you do. Tonight, when you feel your hand drift toward your phone for the 5th time in 10 minutes, you will not be checking a screen. You will be walking through tall grass, scanning the horizon, doing the oldest job a human brain has ever had. The tool changed, the terrain changed, the job never did.